Welcome to Relentless Talk Radio. This is episode 82, and it's a Relentless Women Mastermind episode. And the third Tuesday of every month, I talk to two relentless women. And today I've got Michelle and Kristen here, and they're going to tell you who they are and what they do in a minute. But our topic today is how to be a badass with a good heart. And, I've usually picked the topic the week before once I know who the guests are going to be. And, I couldn't pick any other topic of badass for these two girls. So I'm going to let them introduce who they are. Michelle, I'm going to let you go first. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
My name is Michelle Davis, and I am a life coach. And I usually work with individuals or with couples, or sometimes I get the parent-child interaction. I work with groups, and, to just help people get from where they are to where they want to be.
Awesome. So, Kristen, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yes, my name is Kristen Triggs, and I am the founder and creator of I Have a Say. It's a women's mental health movement, which I recently launched during COVID season, June 1st. It came to me when I got furloughed from my job, and I really realized with Michelle's help, she's my life coach, that I've been given the gift of time here, and it's time to take something that I've been wanting to do for so long and just run with it. It's my calling, and I'm super excited to have it out there in the world right now.
Kristen, are you paying attention to how Michelle and you've got Michelle squared here, and we both are Michelle squared, how we are looking at you with these huge smiles on our face. Are you paying attention?
No, but I will.
Because Michelle and I have started shit before. So we're like, and I can say shit because it's my damn radio show, and there's nobody telling me I can't say shit. So, it's really, I love it when I see a new entrepreneur get her feet wet. Because I'm just so excited for you. I'm so excited for you stepping out into your own and being an example of a silver lining during COVID. There's been a ton of silver linings during COVID. I know it's hard to see that sometimes when there's just stuff going on, but you are 100% a silver lining. And when I did my Art of Fearlessly Doing Business series, I've done 5 of those. Of all the business owners that so 13 times 5, whatever that number is, I can't do math in my head. But all the business owners, I would say, 90% of them actually started their business during the last recession.
Wow.
So I think that last week's topic was difficulty equals opportunity, and you are a perfect example of that. So what I love about this is I actually interviewed Michelle a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, hey, Michelle, who should I interview? And she said, Kristen. And I said, cool, I'll call Kristen. So Kristen and I had a conversation. I'm like, wait a minute. We got a theme here. Like, I love the idea that the two of you work together and that you're going to be referring me for the next couple of women that I'm interviewing on Relentless Talk Radio's Relentless Women Mastermind. You're referring me to women, and it's because of the work that you guys do together that made me think of that. So thank you very much for being the catalyst for change here on Relentless Talk Radio. So Michelle, why life coaching? I mean, this is a example of why, but go ahead and explain.
I love helping people get to where they want to be. That's always been something I've done. I've had several businesses. I've been in the salon world for a long time, and you know how it is, sitting in your stylist chair or getting your nails done. You talking the whole time. So I've always kind of been that person that people come to for advice, and coaching was the next evolution of that, learning that actually everybody has their own stuff on the inside, and my job is not to give them my advice, but help them find their own answers and their own next steps. And I love that. I get so much joy out of doing that. It just, makes my day, and I just keep wanting to do more and more, especially if I work with someone like Kristen, who works really hard at the things that we discover in a session.
Don't you
that makes me
a rock star
into it.
That's awesome. Oh, she's frozen. I think she's frozen. Are you frozen?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, well, you're unfreezing. Chris is going to say what her why is.
For me, my major why is what motivated me to create I Have a Say is my failed suicide attempt I had in 2018. When I was admitted to the mental health outpatient facilities, I had to sign off on a ton of paperwork and contracts. And one of the first things that I had to sign off on was a rule saying you cannot talk about anything said at this facility outside the facility. And that really made me take a step back and, rethink for a bit, because a large part of what got me to my failed suicide attempt was not being able to talk about it with anybody. And for me, that's something I really had to question if I was going to approve and sign off on. And by the end of my time in that mental health outpatient facility, I told my main therapist that I really didn't like that rule. And it kind of it was still sitting with me so heavily. And from there, I let her know that I want to launch something. And, I want to launch a women's mental health movement so that women feel comfortable about talking about their issues and their mental health struggles and journeys. There's struggles, but there's journeys that should be celebrated and talked about as well.
So Kristen, the first thing I want to say is congratulations on being a failure.
Thank you.
Really good to fail at. I'm really glad you were bad at killing yourself.
Me too.
Because the world would have lost out on just an absolutely amazing human being. So thank you for being really bad at that. I love it when a bad thing works out in a good way. So thank you for that. And also, I've heard it said that you're as sick as your secrets. And I think that's true. So I really love that you are telling the truth. I've been sober for 20 years, and I can tell you the day I got sober was not an up day. I didn't walk in to get help and say, hi, I'm doing great and everything's wonderful and I'm just fine. It's not the way that that day was. It was a down day. It was a bad day. It was a bottom sufficient enough to get me sober. So I want to congratulate you again on hitting a bottom. So congratulations on being a bottom feeder and being a failure.
Thank you. I'm honestly, I believe in that, and I'm thankful and grateful for that, to be honest. I've come a long way, and it feels good to be able to empathize with women and help them through these same journeys that they're struggling with. So.
Yeah. I also like that I'm a quitter. I'm a quitter, I'm a bottom feeder, and I'm a failure, And you know what? When everybody really is honest with themselves, they are too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anybody who's been successful at anything ever, I was having a conversation with a young man yesterday, and he asked me, he's 29. He kind of stalked me on Facebook. He was really good at referring me. And I thought, I just got to talk to this dude. So I talked to him yesterday, and he asked me, Michelle, what's the one thing that you would tell me that has been important for you as a business owner? And I said that don't let revenue be the indicator of your success. Because quite frankly, it really is a lagging indicator of success, in my opinion. Like, when I went to master's school and I worked in OD for big corporations, and I've been paid some big dollars for being consulting. A lagging indicator is something that happens after the most important thing happens. And the most important thing is that you create really stellar, amazing, deep relationships with people. And I can see that you and Michelle have already done that. Michelle, what's your biggest lesson? What's your biggest lesson from being in business?
Letting other people help you, not thinking that you have to do it all by yourself. I think that was the number one thing, is to have a little less pride and to be okay with being honest that I couldn't do all the things by myself, that I wasn't an expert at every single little thing that I had to do to run an organization like I ran, and to be okay to let other people help me and take credit for doing those things. That was probably my biggest lesson, and something I definitely allowed to happen today.
I just delegated my bookkeeping last week, finally.
That's smart.
Man, when he sent back a whole you reconciled in 2.5 hours, I thought, yes, I am so happy, right? So the beauty of delegation and saying, you know what, I'm working on delegating my YouTube loads, my Instagram television loads, and my podcast loads, because I don't need to be sitting here waiting for things to load. So I love that you're asking for help and delegating 100%. So Kristen, you're brand new. You're a greenhorn, but you started on June 1st. So that means that you're a whole 30 days into this thing, or 60 days, right?
Yes.
Right? I told you I'm a mathematician. I just delegated my bookkeeping. I'm the first to admit it. I'm not blonde, but I have blonde. So what's the first thing you've learned in 60 days? Because in the first 60 days, you're drinking from a fire hose. So you learned a lot of shit. Come on, share it.
I definitely have been tested so much. My patience has been severely tested in the process of all that. Can ask my family for sure. They've kind of watched me kind of have my ups and downs, figuring out things as simple as linking my Facebook and Instagram together, just trying to figure that out. Like, and then all the way,
you're like, why is this so hard?
So hard, yeah.
And then all the way to writing my own privacy policy for the website. But overall, the biggest lesson I've learned is the power that comes from women supporting women. Because let me tell you, I would not have I Have a Say without it at all. My very first move to create my business is the logo. And I immediately reached out to a friend of mine who's an artist, and I really admire her because she left her corporate industry to start her own company to dedicate her more time to her artwork. From there, she created my logo and referred me to a woman who's a graphic designer who flipped her canvas painting into a graphic logo for me. From there, in addition, she also referred me to a woman who's amazing, connected with me, and referred me to a person who could create my website for $75 a month. And then from there, I also learned and met with a friend of a friend who now does stretch and breathe yoga classes for me every Wednesday to help my Safe Squad out, wind down Wednesdays. And from there, it's just been building. One of my best girlfriends, she does the stationery, all my thank you cards and stationery work for me. She's so talented with paper. And the list goes on. A good friend of mine who has a master's degree in journalism, she's my copy editor. So let me tell you, yes, there it is. There's the logo.
So here's a moment. Like my email hasn't been syncing from my phone to my computer. So I'm thinking, crap, I can't pull it on screen. But yes, I can. I can just pull up my phone and this is the best way to show it. But there you go.
Yep.
Love it.
That's my
you know what I love about this is that big, it's cool, but also just the outline of the head is going to be your avatar. Like my diver is my avatar. So this is really awesome.
Thank you. And what really created it was the artist who I worked with. She showed me her art, and this was kind of the first. This is a lot of what her art looks like, this fluid movement. And the minute I saw it, it inspired me, and I was like, that's what the inside of my brain looks like right now. And I remember, a lot, I kind of immediately Googled brain scans because she wasn't quite following. And I Googled that and sent that over. And I said, look, like this mirrors your art in such a big way.
I'm really loving her eyelashes. Can I say that? I mean, like,
oh, thank you.
Falsies, right? Because those are definitely false or extensions, one or the other. I mean,
yeah, they sure are.
Awesome.
So, yeah, from there, it just was kind of took off. What I loved about it is she kind of warned me. She's like, I will do several trials for you, but you got to know that with this fluid art, I don't have any control over it. And it's super frustrating. And I was like, that's the same as my depression. I don't have any control over my depression. It's something I kind of have to work on and be patient with. And we found that her creating this art piece mirrored depression and mental health in so many ways. And it's so special to me.
I was just talking with a girlfriend of mine a couple weeks ago. I was sharing my story, which was independent from her story. She was stuck in her story. And what I was telling myself I should do, she was owning that as I was telling her what she should do. And she was struggling with depression. So telling somebody they shouldn't be depressed is like saying, don't have diarrhea. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if you're having a struggling on that level, it is a big thing. However, having been a person who struggled with depression and alcoholism and other kinds of crap, right? Eating disorders, everybody thinks I'm this badass woman. So I'm going to tell you what I've learned about badassness. And we'll talk about it a little bit more later. Is badass isn't what you think it is. It's showing up in the hard stuff and doing the next right indicated thing, right? So you haven't got control of your depression, but you do have control of your actions, right?
Yes.
And your choices. So I think that's pretty cool that you chose the logo that definitely said something to your heart. So good for you, because that's going to be with you for a while. That logo. And my diver has been with me for 8 years, and people always say why a diver. It's because like, you know, the whole swan dive thing, the whole, you know, jump and, you know what it is? It's like jump and grow your wings on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Every flipping day, okay? Like, wish me luck with this email thing. I don't know why it's not syncing. Everything I've tried, right? What's your Instagram to your Facebook? What the hell, right? So that leads us into the idea of badasses, okay? Now, I want to read the poem that struck out to me this week, and I'm old, so I'm putting on my glasses. They're kind of cute glasses. You know, you're going to have.
You are not old.
I am old. 53 is old.
No, you're. I'm 51 almost. We are not old.
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with getting old. I'm all right with it, you know? So she's a badass with a good heart. Soft but strong. Unapologetic and honest. She's the type of woman you go to war beside. And then I took out this line, but I got to put it back in. She's the kind of girl you marry. You know, and if you want to know why I put it back in, it's because this guy, R.H. Sin, it's a guy, he's an African-American guy. He's an African-American feminist guy. He writes to his wife. How cool is that? And he only has he has like, I don't know, over 2 million followers on Instagram or some ridiculous amount. He follows one person, and guess who it is? His wife.
Oh.
He follows one person, and it's his wife. So he writes to his wife, and I love that. So, but what he writes is he writes stuff that he thinks that women should demand in their relationships from men. And I think it's pretty cool that it's a man writing it. So the idea of being 1, strong, 2, soft, 3, unapologetic, God damn it, 4, honest, and 5, being a warrior. So I wanted you guys to speak to those 5 things. I've already spoken to a lot of those things in my other 2 lives that I have to make on my personal profile and on my business profile and enterprises. But so for me, strong, synonym for strong is relentless, tenacious, and having commitment. What does strength mean for you guys?
Who do you want to go first?
Light question. Just a light question. Michelle, you go first.
Simple one. You know, when I think of that, when I thought of this, I thought of my uncle who had this quote when I was young, I consider 17 or 18 young. And he said to me one time, you know, your biggest risk is to underestimate your potential, Michelle. That's going to be your biggest risk in life. And I think being strong is knowing what your potential is, or knowing what you have inside of you is necessary to bring out, despite everything else that's going on or all the outside indicators. What's inside of you is what knows, or what you're supposed to be doing, despite what is the supposed reality is. So I think that's what being strong is, you know, doing it anyway. Jumping in and doing it even if you're afraid. You know, you'll have to do it afraid then. You're going to have to do it anyway if it's your thing to do. So that's what I think being strong is.
I love what you're saying, if it's yours to do. I definitely think that doing stuff that's not yours to do is excruciating. And I think that doing what's yours to do might be difficult, but it's not excruciating.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've been in jobs where I've had clients where I was like, this is excruciating because it's not mine to do. If you find yourself, you know, I never let go of anything without claw marks on it. Let go or get dragged. It's like you're getting dragged and you get claw marks. It's just nasty, you know. So to do what's yours to do, I love that. How about you, Kristen? What's strength mean to you?
For me, strength means just taking that full ownership of yourself and you as a being. You have to really dig deep sometimes. And sometimes you're not loving the scenario you're in, and you really have to take that time to self-reflect. And like you said, you know, hanging on with your claws tight, you have to really take ownership of who you are, what you've done, and decide a game plan. And having the strength to commit to that plan and bring yourself out the other side, that's what strength is to me. I dealt with that when I was paralyzed in the hospital. As I was in college, freshman year of college.
Wow.
I was in ICU for 2 to 3 weeks and spent three months rehabbing, relearning how to walk, talk, write, everything. And it literally took a lot for me to dig deep down inside to realize, what I needed and what the parts of me that could get me through this. I had to rely heavily on my strengths and my beliefs to get me through that. And then I had to do it again when I had my failed suicide attempt. And then I had to do it again when my best friend took her own life and I lost her to suicide. So it takes a lot of strength to keep reminding yourself and getting yourself back out of that hole.
So, Kristen, we have something in common. My brother took his life in 1983. My mom found him. It's had a lasting impact on my family. So I know from my brother, he made the choice that he needed to make for him, and I've always respected his decision. However, for most people, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And I think that every day we wake up and we think it's going to be rainbows and like sunshine every day, and that's not what strength is. I mean, sometimes you wake up and you're like, crap, I don't even know who the hell I am today. And you have to recommit to your goal every flipping day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to be, kind of where your commitment level is contingent upon like your spiritual development or your mental capacity. And sometimes I got about 3 ounces of commitment today, so I'm going to work with that. But other days, you're like 250%. People are like, whoa, she's on fire, right?
Yeah.
I've never been accused of that ever, right? But, I've been on both sides of this, okay? I've been on the side where it's like, what the hell am I doing? And holy shit, let's go, right? So I think that I love what you said, that every day you have to commit and recommit and tweak and change and recommit and try again and fall down. It's messy. It's messy. My girlfriend Sharon Vondron, who is the person she was one of the 3 women that started this idea of the Relentless Woman. She has a podcast called Messy in the Middle. It sure is messy in the middle. It absolutely is. There's a mess every time. So the idea of being soft, I know people think, they look at me and they say, oh my God, she's such a badass. Look at her in leather on the motorcycle. And she's always got it to get blah, 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 blah. You know what? I am one of the most sensitive people you will ever meet. I am a humongous marshmallow on the inside. I cried AT&T commercials. I kid you not. Okay. My nutrition partner just came out with a new video to describe where we're at as a company. And quite frankly, I literally bawled when I was watching it. I literally bawl when I see little ladies getting out of their car and having a hard time. Like, I am just super duper soft. And I heard early on when I was first getting sober that true strength is yielding. If you're a big giant, tree, oak tree, a really good wind, like for example, the Palo Verde out in front of my house right now, I was told I have to get it trimmed because the monsoon is coming, and Palo Verdes actually are very sensitive, if you've noticed if you're driving down the road, to wind and rain, right? But the grass or the weeds that are growing are just bending and swaying, you know what I mean? So sometimes we have to be yielding to be strong. And I've learned, boy, man, I'm Italian, Irish, Catholic. I've had to learn how to be like, whatever, go ahead. I remember a person telling me that he knew he was getting healthier when he got to the 4-way stop sign and he let everybody go.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So the softness of being strong it's the opposite side of the same coin. So Kristen, tell me a little about being soft.
For me, being soft has certainly shifted. It used to be something of me being super sensitive. I'm a super sensitive person. I'm a bit of an empath. I can feel people's energies and I can read people really well. And it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But as I've kind of leveled up in the process since 2018 and, healing myself and working with Michelle, I've become soft in a whole nother way. And that's being kind to myself and having the ability to give myself grace and self-love and compassion. Like, I'm softer to myself. So that has really transitioned to giving back to me, which has been such a gift. And I'm hearing myself, like my self-talk has changed. And I'm like hearing myself. It's like an out-of-body experience to hear yourself talk about yourself so confidently. And then also when you trip or fall or do something, the way I'm talking to myself about it is like a completely different narrative. So
There was my mentor when I was first coming up, when I was really young. She said, sometimes you have to treat yourself like your mom would if you were sick. If you were sick, you know what I mean? Like you just gotta. It's all right, you know what I mean. You're gonna be okay, you know. And if you find yourself doing that for yourself, that's a really good day. How about you, Michelle?
I have to say, I love what Kristen said. That makes me so happy. Anyway.
My job is done here.
I totally agree with that. Ditto to that too. And I also, for me, being soft would be allowing my, just putting my whole heart into everything that I do, even if it's always that risk, right, of putting it there. And if somebody isn't, something doesn't work out, or the person you're in a relationship with doesn't work out, or the goals that you have don't work out, you could get hurt, right? And so some people will shut that down or hold that in a safer place. And I've not usually been that kind of person. I'll still go at it, even if I've been slammed the time before. I'll go through the process of healing. I let myself go through all of it because I don't want to carry it with me. I want to still be able to do that every time. So I think that being soft, and that is the other side of the strong coin. You have to be able to be vulnerable and put it all in there to be strong as well. So the same thing.
When I was selling my last house, I was having a contractor come take a look at it. Jim Stick, Jim's a custom home, an amazing man, right? And I was telling him kind of my circumstances at the time. And I stopped mid-sentence and I went, wait a minute. Crap. Those circumstances have no power over me, because I realized if I was in the same situation again, I would do exactly the same thing I did. And I think the most powerful thing you can do is, if you've been hurt, is to love harder.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate FU.
For sure.
Okay, can we just talk for a second? It totally is. Like, you cannot break me. You cannot break my heart, because I've learned that over the past couple of years that, wow, I thought that I would get harder after my last situation. And I'm like, no, I am not going to let life make me hard. I don't care. Right. I'm going to love people. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to choose joy every flipping second I can. 100%. Because the best thing you can do, and the best revenge you have on all the badness in the world, is to be flipping happy.
Yep. Something I
and to make soft on the inside and not turn into a cold hard bitch. I refuse.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you know what I mean? I know I'm not supposed to curse and stuff, but that's the truth. I'm not going to turn into a cold hard bitch ever. No one has that much power over me. No situation, no person, no circumstance, no nothing, right? So the next one is unapologetic. There you go. I just demonstrated it, right? So I would say unapologetic is being all versions of yourself all the time. So, like, the soft parts, the sideways parts, the hard parts, all of it, and just say, hey, this is me. And Michelle, you kind of accused me of that before the show, so I'll take it. Because everybody is a work in progress, and I'm not going to walk around looking perfect every second. I'm not going to walk around being a victim either. I'm going to be myself, unapologetically me, damn it, every second.
Right.
Some of that's not pretty, some of that's in progress, and it's all of it, right? If that's what an authentic, genuine life is, it's a constant evolution. So, Michelle, is that true for you?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. That's the authentic part for me, is being unapologetic, just being as who you are all the time. And it's not easy, because a lot of the world says you can't be this way here, you got to be like this over here to be accepted or to be loved. And it takes a lot of courage to be able to just show up and be who you are all the time. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I definitely try to be as authentic as possible, and that's being unapologetic. It's just who I am. And either you're part of my squad, as Kristen would call it. You're part of my squad, my team, my people, or you're not, and that's okay. So you're not going to please everybody. Not everybody's going to be a part of your circle, and that's fine.
I don't say that. You might like chocolate or vanilla. I'm strawberry. Doesn't make chocolate or vanilla bad. Doesn't make strawberry right. It's just a different flavor, right?
Exactly.
So 100%. And so, Kristen, how about you?
For me, unapologetic.
I was thought when you told that nurse, I'm not okay with being quiet.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Then that definitely kicked in then. And kind of fast forwarding today, I've been really unapologetic about who I am as a person and my own mental health. I've been learning how to set boundaries with people, and I've been learning how to protect my mental health. And sometimes my actions to protect my mental health and my boundaries don't always please everybody, but it's what I have to do to protect me and to live a happy, healthy life. And I just am done apologizing for it. And I'm more confident about stating those healthy boundaries and those items and those things. And I realized and learned that the people who have respected those boundaries are the ones that are meant to be. Like Michelle says, we all attract the right people as a magnet. And that's what it is for me right now.
See, she loves it. She loves it.
The people who don't respect your boundaries, they fall into a couple categories. There's some people that just literally just could give a shit about your boundaries. They just don't care. They're just on their own side and they don't care what your side looks like. They don't care. There's some people who are oblivious. Just, what do you mean you got a boundary? I don't understand what's a boundary. I don't get it. Like, they just totally don't get it. I've been oblivious in my life over things like I didn't know anything about. So I have to forgive the oblivious people, right? And then there's the people that just, they get your boundaries, but they're where they're at. They can't help being where they're at. And your boundaries there, but my boundaries here, right?
Yeah.
But all day long, it's our job to pay attention to what our boundaries are. And what I've learned is I don't have to assess what category the boundaryless person is in. The good, bad, indifferent, and the guy that just like, you know what, let me just poke at you, like Bart Simpson. I'm not talking to you, right? Like that guy. There's people that actually like to poke your boundaries because I had a person like that in my life that loved poking me until I finally just finally lost my temper. And what I've learned over time, and I love, this is why Michelle and I are like, Michelle's squaring over here, like, yes! Usually you learn that about 45.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
she's ahead of the game.
Little ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Like after you have the life sucked out of you by the emotional vampires of your life, and you're like, wow, like I have got to set a boundary there. I just recently set one where, a meeting was going to be moved up, and I said, you know what? I'm prepared for that meeting at this time because that's when I'm prepared for it. So I appreciate that you've had a change, and I have to constantly work at it because I'm a people pleaser. I want to make it healthy for everybody. I want to do what's right for everybody. And I find myself going back to that take care of yourself piece that you talked about earlier, which is, when I do that, then I'm like, why am I so tired? How come I didn't get my work done? Why? Oh, yeah. Guess what? It wasn't that person's problem. It was my problem because I didn't set the boundary. They're just doing themselves. Have you ever heard the turtle and the scorpion story? Have you heard that one?
Here.
Where the turtle and the scorpion they're walking along the road at the river, and the scorpion says, "Hey, dude, I really got to get to the side. Just bring me over there." And the turtle says, "Listen, I'm allergic to scorpions. We're gonna get out in the middle of the water, and we're gonna both die. I'm not doing it." So they walk another, and he, "Come on, dude, come on." Finally, they're out in the middle of the water, and the scorpion sings the turtle. The turtle's like, "Dude, why did you do that?" He goes, "Sorry, I was a scorpion. I'm a scorpion. I can't help it. It's what I do." So I've had to learn those people where I'll walk beside the water with you all day long, and now 6 feet apart with a mask on, socially distancing, right? But I am not letting you get on my back to drown in the middle of the water, because not only do I go down, but you go down too. And the relationship goes down, right? So you lose the friendship, you lose the whatever. So we're really in charge of creating our own boundaries and to not apologize. You can be, "Hey, I'm sorry you feel that way, but..."
Absolutely.
That line. But hey, I see where you're at, and I appreciate it.
Right. There's
Whatever.
no apology. Yeah, there's no apology for it. It's just.
Yeah, I'm just not going to let you take us both down, right? So the other thing was being honest. And so for me, it's being genuine and authentic to others, but more importantly, yourself. I will lie to myself, holy crap. And I have to catch myself going, well, like I just recently, okay, as of like hours ago, really, made a decision not to go solo to Sturgis. I was planning on getting on my Harley and riding to Sturgis. It's been on my radar. I've got sponsors. I thought through the logistics last night, and I thought, it's not being alone. It's not the distancing. It's not the time by myself, I realized I'd be touching a lot of things that a lot of people are touching, and I'd be showering in public bathrooms. And I knew that it would be very problematic for me to do that. So I had to go, hey, Michelle, if you get sick on the road and you can't get on that 1,000-pound bike and ride it, you're going to be stuck in like Wyoming sick.
Mm-hmm.
And your mom's going to worry about you and your friends are going to worry about you. And, you know, it's going to cost a lot of money. And so I had to walk literally last night at about 10:30. And it was a conversation I had with myself. Like, shit. So for you, Michelle, what does honesty mean to you?
That one, I would agree with being honest to yourself, telling yourself the truth about the things that are going on, you know, really recognizing what's actually happening in the moment that it's happening. Not, you know, I talked to Kristen about this a lot of people about this, not running into the future and terrorizing myself what could happen or worrying about what did happen, but like, no, actually what's actually happening right now. What's actually happening. Yeah, and then let's make our moves from here. Like, let's get back to what's actually going on right now. And that's really hard because we're not programmed that way. And then also to be honest with that it's my responsibility for what is happening. You know, everything that's happening is mine, 100%. No matter who else is involved, I'm still, because I'm a part of it, it's my responsibility. So taking all that honestly sometimes isn't the easiest thing to do, but it's the best thing to do. You will move forward in the right way if you do that.
I love that you're talking about accountability, because I think one of the things that I've learned this lesson at every stage of my life and a different, deeper level, is that I am accountable. If there's something in my life not going my way and there's a colossal jerk creating the trauma and I'm signing up for that shit, guess what? I'm the problem.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You gotta be able to put your big girl panties on and do what needs to be done, no matter what it is. I love that, the accountability part of it. How about Kristen? How about you?
Definitely accountability is linked to my personal honesty. Accountability is something that was basically a family value. Growing up, I remember my dad telling me accountability and pronouncing it out and explaining what it meant to me. And that is taking responsibility for your actions and also being able to see the reality of situations, like Michelle said. In addition to that, with honesty comes vulnerability, because it's not always easy. Our egos are trying to protect us and hold us back. And for me, I felt when creating this movement, especially, I really needed to put my honest truth out there. It wasn't going to work if I didn't have my full skin in the game. I could have easily kept my story shortened to my attempted suicide attempt, but I felt, you know what, we're just going to open it all up. We're going to open it up to all the way back to being born and, you know, not being able to have the confidence to speak to other people and have my sister do it for me. Then we're going to go into my dyslexia and my ADHD. Then we're going to go into my college and being paralyzed and overcoming that and having post-traumatic stress. And then we're going to go into like the present 2008 failed suicide attempt, because I felt like if I'm going to ask women to, share their truths and break the stigma, I have a responsibility to be honest and put it all out on the line as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, Facebook was like a really good teacher for me with that, because when I started Facebook, it was 2008 or so, right? When I started to come and I had a personal profile that was like my personal life, like my friends and family, and I had a professional profile, which I don't have, by the way, one profile on Facebook. And I didn't want to like merge. Okay, like wait a minute. At the time, I was a financial advisor, so I was afraid to let them know I was a biker. I was afraid to let them know I had got sober. I was afraid, And then, like, over the years, I turned into this. The reality is that I'm a biker who's sober, who is an artist and an entrepreneur and a philanthropist. I'm a work in progress every flipping second. And, the irony about it is now, I used to be so afraid when I first came out here of people knowing I was a sober biker. And now I'm like, whatever. If the worst thing you say about me is that I got sober and I ride a motorcycle, then, I don't know. But there is this idea of compartmentalizing ourselves.
Yes.
And I think that one of the things that I chose to do when I merged my profile, quite frankly, you know what I mean, was to merge all aspects of my personality. And that's what Relentless Radio is. People are always telling me, Michelle, do one thing. I can do one thing. This is my one thing, right? I'm an artist, a philanthropist, a entrepreneur who's also a health and fitness zealot. That's who I am, right? I'm not one of those things. I'm all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing is being a warrior. So for me, life's in session all the dang time. And you sometimes, I was listening to, oh my God, I wish I could remember who it was. It was one of my speakers in my nutrition company was talking about fighting. Like, every day is a fight, and if you're dealing with depression or fill in the blank challenge, you have to show up with your gloves on, and be willing to fight every day to show up. Fight every day not to try to commit suicide again. Because next time you might be more successful. So I'm really grateful that you continue to fight, Michelle, because everything that you're, Kristen, you too, Michelle, but everything that you're doing is about fighting back.
Yes.
So tell me about that, Kristen.
Absolutely. Right now, the main goal is to provide a safe place for women to start talking about this and break those stigmas by creating our own narratives and fighting back. And a key is to stop fighting against each other. We live in this freaking social society, this corporate America, where they are systematically pitting women against each other. Literally, it's not office gossip or this or that. It's literally. Right now, I know a lot of my friends are in the middle of their reviews, like their company quarterly reviews, where the company has a ranking system. You are ranked from 1 to 100, and where you fall in that ranking, that's how much you get a bonus. That's your pay. So you are automatically pitted against each other from the start in that type of structure environment. And you're looking at your rank and where you fall.
You share your score with each other? Do you know what your colleague's score is?
No, I'm just saying, like, this is a real thing that exists.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just a thing that exists. I dealt with it when in my previous corporate job is you get ranked and you get to see the list of where you fall. You get to see the people who are above you. And when you know those people, you're like, I can't take away your talent, but I can affect it maybe. And that's how this corporate, this is how this corporate toxicity exists. And it's where the epicenter of women's mental health is, because you're being pitted against each other automatically. You're seeing people above you. Then your mind starts thinking, I can't take away your talent, but maybe I can affect it. Maybe I can change the way my boss views you. Maybe I can change the way your coworkers view you to put you off your game. I've experienced it, and every woman would be lying if she hasn't experienced it or done it herself. So
my first thought was, I want to get to know those chicks and see how they did it. Like, what are you doing? I'll always walk up to the strongest woman in the room and say, hey, I want to be your friend. I want your card. I want your telephone number. I want to know where you were hanging out.
And that's the right way to be doing it.
What can I do with you, right? But I do think you're right. We've been taught to compete with each other for men's attention, for jobs, all that stuff. And one of the reasons why I've continued on with the third Tuesday being, I took a little bit of a break trying to figure it out, but we've created a group where all the women that come on Relentless Talk Radio are in a group together so we can support them forward, because we'll all be hand selected. How cool is that? I also have a group called the Biker Unite, because the biker community is very macho. Like 800 in the beginning. I kind of like that statistics, but I love that now. It's like I can ride. I went on a ride a couple weeks ago with like 500 women. It was awesome. It was great. I have a group called the Hot Tamales, so we actually date each other. We get dressed up for each other, and you guys will get an invitation.
I'm in that.
So you're in it already. I thought sometimes I think that we get dressed up for guys or for a job or whatever, and I love getting dressed up for my girlfriend. So I love that you are seeing that so young. My next challenge to you is to start doing something in your organization, if you haven't already, that are getting women to work together. And
that's exactly.
I'm going to be doing
exactly it
for biker women and for biker men, 2 separate episodes, but in the same This is how women support women and men support men, and how we can meet in the middle in the biker culture, because I think that it's important. How about you, Michelle? Like, what do you think a warrior is?
You know, I think the way I show up as a warrior is just showing up every day. You know, I'm just everything that, I think we've all been through stuff, right? I mean, I can throw out my laundry list too. We've all got things in our skeletons. What are the skeletons in our closet? All kinds of stuff.
We all got
Things that I've survived. Yeah, survived those dark nights of the soul that I've had. And I'm still here. I'm still here, and I'm still loving, and I'm still present for my kids and there for my friends. And then my work now with the life coaching, I help other people know those truths about themselves, that they are strong, they are still here, they can still do these things. And I feel like that's my warrior work, is really keeping my own self in sync with that, but then helping other people that come to me for that same knowledge about themselves. I think that's how I'm a warrior right now. Yeah.
You're actually, I love that the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know if you've ever read it before.
I've heard of it.
Yoga.
I don't
So
think so.
basically, Arjuna is a warrior. He's a soldier, and Krishna, God, is talking to him, and Arjuna is saying, "I don't want to be a warrior. Like, really? I mean, this is like, and he's like, hey, if this is what's yours to do, and do it to the best of your ability." I love that. He chose that the Bhagavad Gita is literally about war. And the analogies throughout the whole thing are about showing up for what you're yours to do. And for Arjuna, it was being a soldier, it was being a warrior. And I think the analogies are right there. I think that the first thing that you need is fearlessness. That's why my former company was called Fearlessly Deliver, because in order for you to show up every day as a warrior, you got to be fearless. Every day. You got to show up, and no matter what your history is. So we talked about a couple things that we have coming up, right? Before I go there, though, is there anything more that you guys wanted to say about any of these little topics that we have, these 5 things?
Yeah, I did just kind of want to round off and let people know that, you said to incorporate women supporting women, and that's what my virtual events are for with I Have a Say. Each wave, each month, we're doing a topic of discussion. This month's is resilience, and we've been having private workshops of intimate setting groups, 10 women per group, because I want everybody to have a voice and I want everybody to be heard. And it allows you to learn, and we get takeaways so you can continue the practice of gaining and strengthening your resilience after. We also have Wind Down Wednesdays, which allows you to hit pause on that midweek, like hump days out. At this point, we all just need to calm down and stretch and breathe it out. So I'm giving women 20 minutes every Wednesday with amazing yoga meditation instructor, that she leads that every Wednesday for my girls, open to everybody.
Okay, good. So is that going to be shared publicly, or is it going to be shared in a private group?
It's
awesome.
shared publicly. IHaveASay.com.
So I will share that every Wednesday in Relentless Talk Radio. So we do yoga actually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So now you just become my Wednesday yoga thing. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited about that. And I love that you segued right into virtual events, because that was my next thing to talk about. So you have this 20-minute yoga thing. You have the virtual event. You're doing the virtual things as you want. Are you guys using Zoom?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Zoom. Okay, cool. And we talked about your logo, and then I want to talk a little bit with Michelle about how you basically worked with Kristen to help her to take a difficult situation and turn it into an opportunity. That's really what's yours to do, right? So you work with people, helping them to kind of level up in their life, and not just work, personal. You're a life coach, not a business coach. You're looking at everything, right? So tell us about the work that you do with Kristen, and how other people can work with you.
Well, I am a life coach, and so I can work with all areas of life, but I also have an MBA. So I also understand business. I've owned my own business. So when Kristen was looking at being furloughed in the face and wondering what's to do next for her, we brought out some of her passions, and she's got actually 2 more like this one that will probably be next up, just so you know, to be prepared for this one, because she is tearing it up. Yeah, she's got more. But she decided to pick this one and focus on it. And when this woman focuses, she puts everything in. We do the work together, but in our session, but she's the one that has to do that work on her own to pull this out of her. And she's just amazing person, the way that she went for it and put herself out there. And
you know what I found? People who have been through hell and survived it are some of the hardest flipping workers you're ever going to see. Because in order for you to get out of the hospital to walk again, you had to be a fighter. So when you get your feet back underneath you and you get some structure and you get some focus, if you look at anybody who's ever made anything of their life, it had some type of tragedy they had to overcome, and that resilience has allowed them to move on. So I love that the topic is resilience for the new virtual event, but also, Michelle, you work with people on, I think you have a book, right? You have something that you're doing with resilience and there's 5 indicators.
Yeah, that's the talk that I did for Kristen for her first wave events was based on resilience and the 5 leading indicators of what your resilience looks like. So the self-care, your active problem solving, your meaning and purpose, your social support, and your positive outlook. So we talked about each one of those in our virtual event and taught women what those look like so they could, measure themselves against that to see where they needed to build that resistance. So when things like this happen, when times come like are happening right now, you have that resilience built up. You're not born with it, you build it. It's like a muscle, and you can work on it every day to be strong when those things, life crises or mental situations happen. You have that to back yourself up.
I think this topic of resilience is really a huge one. Kathy Cooper, the owner of Isogenics, wrote a book called Resilience, and she just launched it this past weekend. And
Great.
I do think that, and resilience was a topic a couple of months ago on, I don't know how long ago it was. They all meshed together after a while, but resilience was a topic recently on Relentless Talk Radio too. And I think that it's a really great topic during these times, because I don't think that the effects of COVID are going to go away anytime soon. I think our life is forever changed. And I think that resilience is very important. But another thing that you said that really struck out to me was positivity, which is also a choice.
Right.
Like we can choose to be negative or positive. I can really kind of tell how people are by their Facebook feed. Like if my Facebook feed is full of positive stuff and love and character development, awesome stuff. And I really think that Facebook, I think often in my Facebook lives, personally and professionally, I think that Facebook is the algorithms are a really good teacher. What you put out there, you will attract. And, even the lies you tell into yourself, like I've had some things I've attracted to myself, I've really been looking at them, like, why am I attracting that? Like, what's going on? There's something inside of me going on that's attracting me to look at it, right?
Right.
But I think Facebook and the algorithms of life, right? When you stay positive, you attract positive. And I think that people are a little mixed up over what positive is. Positive doesn't mean that you're not depressed or you're not challenged or you're not in need of a program where 10 of you are sitting around talking about this stuff. In fact, that is a component of positivity, is actively dealing with your shit.
Yeah. Right.
And not just sweep it under the carpet, right? Kristen, what would you tell yourself? I'm popping this question on you kind of impromptu. So if I'm out of line, you just set a boundary with me, okay? The old girl coach right there in advance. But I'm gonna ask you a brave question. What would I love it? She leaned forward and
I know. She's ready.
What would you tell yourself the day that you attempted to kill yourself? What would you tell that girl now today, having lived through what you've lived through and developed this amazing I Have a Say company?
Yeah, that's a good question. If I had the ability to go back and kind of have that out-of-body experience to talk to myself, I would definitely let her know. I would definitely let her know that it's going to be okay, and that you're going to find strength and be connected to the most amazing resources. You're going to meet the most amazing women to provide you with strength and a clearer vision to allow you to come out the other side of this. And one day you're going to be able to be a participant and an advocate for women just like you. So don't give up yet. You're just about to get to the good part.
Oh.
Yeah.
Woo.
Don't give up till the miracle happens is what I tell people when they're in that spot, because you just don't know. And honestly, I just recently posted about my dad telling me not to give up. My dad just passed away in February, and I'm really grateful I have his words in my mind, because I would sit down and talk with my dad and throw up on him, what we do, right? And listen, and he would regurgitate back to me what I said, so I knew I was heard. Just naturally, he didn't have to go to a course or do any psychology kind of related stuff to get that. He just do it because he's my dad, And he would say, Michelle. Actually, he could say Shell. He wouldn't say Michelle. Does your family call you Shell too? He'd say Shell. Good. He'd say Shell. Don't give up. And I think that I'm really grateful that you're unsuccessful, and I'm really grateful that you're repurposing that lesson to help other people. Kristen, I think it's really awesome what you're doing. I think it's divine the inspiration that you and Michelle hooked up.
For sure.
And I just cannot wait to see what happens next. So how do people enroll in your course?
Yes, so they're going to head over to ihaveasay.com, and I know the website is scrolling below us. They can head over there, and they can sign up for the Wind Down Wednesday, which is the 20-minute stretch and breathe yoga classes on the website, and they can also sign up for virtual events. We just had our last virtual event in July on the 16th, but there's certainly more to come. So Michelle and I are currently in the middle of revamping and adding more and doing more exciting things that are going to be coming to our Say Squad on a weekly basis. So that's super exciting. But all they have to do is head to the website. Super easy, just to hit that register button and scroll down.
So it's I-have-a-say.com.
Yes.
And then on Instagram, you're I.have.a-say. Okay. So Instagram, you're a big Instagram girl because you're a millennial. Are you millennial? You're a millennial.
I'm like very cusp of that millennial.
So are you closer to the Z or closer to the Generation X?
I don't know. I was born in '88, so.
Oh, so I think you're closer to X.
Yeah.
Okay. Michelle, how do people get a hold of you if they want to work with you?
They can reach me at coachingwithmd.com. I have a website there, coachingwithmd.com. And that's my email address as well, coachingwithmd@gmail.com. So they can definitely reach out to me in either one of those ways.
So here's a big lesson. Instagram, IGTV will not allow me to load anything that's more than an hour. So it's my job to be off this thing so I do not have to tailor this video within an hour. And it is 57 and 42 seconds. And right? So I want to thank you girls for coming on. I really appreciate both of you and the work that you're doing. You have nominated 2 people to be on the show, hopefully in September. I have biker ships coming on in August. So tell me who the people are. We've got 2 minutes for you to tell me, and I will do this when I have to say goodbye. So who are the 2 women you've nominated?
I'm asking Michelle Whittington with Unleash Your Life to come and be with you in September.
I love the title of that. And how about you, Kristen?
I am asking Marie Black-Young. She is a Yomi instructor, yoga and meditation, who's currently doing my Wind Down Wednesday 20-minute virtual sessions.
Well, I'm super excited about both of these chicks because I haven't met them. I love meeting people I haven't met, and I love the Yomi concept. And I love the title of the first company. So you girls are badasses with good hearts, and I really appreciate that about you. I want to thank you for your time and the effort and the energy.
Thank you.
And I'm actually going to get out of here in an hour, which I'm very proud of myself.
Yes.
Everybody, this has been episode 82 of Relentless Talk Radio. This is where we have talked with Michelle and Kristen about being a badass with a good heart. So come back again next week, every Tuesday, 2:30 to 3:30 on Relentless Talk Radio. And every third Tuesday is the Relentless Women Mastermind. All right, girls, take care.
Thank you. Bye.